One of the first videos I did on this channel was this one right here. Hopefully I'll be able to put a shot on the thumbnail of there for it. It's I bought half a cow. Here's what it looked like. Well, I've worked my way through most of that half cow. I ordered that I received that in May and of this year of 2022. And it's now November and that half cow is mostly gone. All I have left really is the ground meat that I kept. I gave some of it to family because really don't like ground meat. I just don't, never have. But, I still have some of that. But otherwise, I'm eating steaks that I've gotten from the store or picked up individually from the rancher I bought that cow from. And so now, in the last few weeks, I put in an order for a full cow, getting ready for the long, dark winter that our powers that be leaders shouldn't be or are saying to us that we're going to have. So I have a full cow coming, and I received the cut sheet from the rancher offering to have, saying, okay, let us know what you want because we're getting ready to process your cow, which is a nice way of saying it's done aging. They're going to cut it up for me and they're going to deliver it. In fact, I just got a message this morning from them saying they're going to deliver it this week. So there'll be a second video on this after that happens. I will show you what a full cow looks like. I'm going to go over with you not just a cut sheet, which I'll do here in a minute, but I want to tell you how to get a half cow or a full cow or a quarter cow or even an eighth. Sometimes these are marked as freezer packs. These are, you're still buying 100 pounds, 125 pounds of beef, buying beef in bulk essentially. But it's more for, people who don't have any kind of big freezer. I actually have two big freezers. I have a 15.5 square foot freezer, which is probably the minimum you need for a full cow. And I also have a 7 square foot chest freezer for overflow, which is, I suspect, is going to probably be where most of the ground beef ends up. And I bought that because I also have I have a full pig coming from a friend who raises one American Heritage breed pig. Can't remember what the pig's breed is off the top of my head. I can't remember which breed it is, but he raises Heritage breed pigs, which are, as pork goes, a cut above regular pork. In fact, light years better for you and in terms of flavor than pigs from the grocery store, since they're running around a pasture, eating things pigs should eat. So, and that pig, by the way, is stupidly cheap. I can see why some carnivores do pork-heavy carnivore, because it's stupidly cheap, comparatively speaking. So the first thing you should do, though, when ordering a full cow is this. You need to develop a relationship of some kind with a rancher. I wouldn't order something from a bulk place. Yeah, it can be a high volume ranch. Like the person I deal with, they sell a lot of beef. They raise a lot of head of cattle, take a lot of head of cattle to get processed every week. But they're not a formal corporation. They're probably legally incorporated the state of Oklahoma for, liability and tax reasons and all the rest of it, but they're not a giant corporate entity. And they sell their beef directly. You can probably go to their farm or go to their website and order. But they also have a place, periodically pull their truck up to 3 different locations once a week, 3 different locations, and sell beef directly out of the back of their truck, which is how I found them. They come to my town on Thursdays, actually, and park at the mall, in the mall parking lot, and they sell beef out of the back of a freezer trailer. And so it's good to develop a relationship with them. And part of that is you go there and you take a look at their products, you have conversations with them, and you buy a few steaks or some hamburger or roasts or whatever. So you can actually have an idea of what it is they're selling and also if it's worth your money. There are horror stories out there right now of people going online and buying cows, or half cows, full cows, quarter cows, and getting it home and it's garbage meat. I get mine from Destiny Ranch. It's not really a plug for them since I'm in central Oklahoma and the 99.9% of you who watch this are not. But they have good quality meat, very good quality meat. At least USDA Choice Plus, if not USDA Prime, and it's grass-fed, grain-finished. So I recommend that you find somebody who sells quality meat like that. You buy a few steaks, and you do it you do it fairly regularly, so you can see the consistency and get to know them on a character level. This is a lot of this. Some of the sounds, if you come from a more, I would call it, classically kind of modern way of thinking about these things. You're talking about a pure business relationship. Why do you care about character and things? Well, you do. When you're talking about how animals are treated, when you're talking about, food that you're eating for your health, you do. And remember, in the carnivore world, people talk about the carnivore tribe, carnivore community. It's one of the things that attracted me to trying this diet out. It was this sort of built-in community, and I really think we should extend that to where we get our food from, especially in uncertain times. Especially when we got, how people out there trying to get us to eat plant-based or bug-based diets. You should get to know your local meat producers, whether they produce pork or beef or chicken. Get to know the people who grow eggs in your area if you can, or the raw milk producers. In fact, in my state, the only way you can get raw milk is getting on a wait list with the local farmers. It's the only way you can get it. So anyway, I went and bought, I had been buying beef from Destiny Ranch for the past 2 years at least. And I bought the half cow from them this past spring, and now I have a full cow coming. And I will be doing a video on what that looks like when it comes, because even I don't know what it's going to look like other than what I've seen online. But that's going to be a little different than when I've got, my kitchen lit up with my, my recording lights and some camera with my camera and going over everything. We're doing it in my front yard, which is probably how it's going to happen, because the last time when I bought the half cow, it took up my entire dining room table, and I don't have a small dining room table, and that was a half cow. I'm probably going to have this stuff spread out in my front yard and just film all of it and to get some panning shots in the beautiful Oklahoma fall sunshine. So you want to do that. You want to, develop this relationship and, have conversations about them. Find out, for instance, the process. And I don't mean like, what does the butcher do? I mean the process for you. What's the time frame? How long is it going to take? You're talking about an animal that needs to be, that after they take it to slaughter, they're going to have, they're going to hang the carcass for a certain amount of days. If you have histamine problems and you want it not dry aged, you better ask them if you can get it not dry aged, because dry aging beef is standard in the beef industry. We're talking 7 days to 14 days minimum. Some cattle producers will happily not do that for you. They will only hang it long enough to, drain it, and then they will have it processed and frozen. But it's standard for it to dry age for 14 days. So you want to find that out if that affects you. And then you want to ask for what's called their cut sheet, so you can see what you're going to get. And I have the one that they gave me here for you. So let's start here at the top. Yeah, I blocked out my phone number. Please don't call me. But there's a name, address stuff, all of that. They'll have that information anyway. A good cattle company, a good beef company will deliver the meat to you if they're local. Destiny Ranch delivered it to my house in March, and they'll be delivering this next one to me here in the next few days, possibly by the time you're seeing this. So you make sure to fill that information out. But that's not the important part here. Let's go down to the main body. The main body of this text shows things like, are you ordering a whole, a half, or a quarter? They know which one I was ordering. When I sent things in, you probably may have a hard time seeing it, but everything that I ordered, I just took in bold because this was a Word document. Again, this is a small family operation here. And now we go through roasts here. So they have like the arm roast. How big of an arm roast do I want? Do I want it 2 to 3 pounds, 3 to 4 pounds, or 4 to 5 pounds? I actually like smaller arm roasts. When I kind of have that itch for brisket type things, I'll cook an arm roast. But I don't want so much brisket that I get kind of sick of brisket, which is what happened to me this summer. I made like 5 briskets over the course of the summer for family events and for visiting friends and things, and I got tired of brisket. But arm roasts are a good way to get a smallish amount of brisket that you can eat in a day or two, and then just move on. Also steak thickness and steaks per package. Again, this is for the arm roast, right? Then you move down to the chuck roast, because you're going to get a lot of chuck roast when you're getting a whole cow. And it asked me, how much weight do I want per roast? 2 to 3 pounds, 3 to 4, or 4 to 5. I chose 3 to 4 because, again, I do these like briskets typically, 200-degree internal temperature, cooked very thoroughly. Many of you would say overcooked, but I just prefer them as briskets. And I think they cook better at 3 to 4 pound range. Chuck steak, for the steak thickness, I chose the 1-inch steak, just because those are usually like quick fryer steaks for me. And how many steaks per package? 2. I think they store easier that way. Rump roast. This is a very lean cut. Do I want rump roast? Yes. And then I just, said yes because I didn't want chicken fried steak and I didn't want them ground. So I'm getting a bunch of leaner rump roast because my diet protocol for fat burning is like fatter things in the morning, leaner in the evening. And rump roasts can be really nice and tender. Now you're all curious about the ribeye steaks. These come in, you can have them bone in or boneless. For whatever reason, I prefer bone in. And I asked for these to be 1.25 inch thick, 2 per package. How many am I going to get? I'm not sure. Because every cow is different. I know mine's going to be around 570-pound hanging weight, but the last one I ordered from them, my half cow, came with like 12 ribeyes, so I'm expecting at least 20, if not 24 to 26. But 1.25 inch thick will be thick enough that I can cook them properly, and that will work for my dietary needs. Round steaks. These are, eye of round and those sorts of steaks. Do I want them? Yes, and yes, I wanted them tenderized because they're so lean that they can be a little tough. But you tenderize them, you flash fry them, they cook real quick, and they're wonderful. Brisket. Do I want it whole or halved? And I opted for whole. Just one brisket's fine. I don't like when people separate the point from the flat. It tends to make them cook weird. I don't know why that is, but it just does. And I've seen Destiny Ranch do whole and half briskets, either halved at the point in the flat or vertically halved. So you get both a flat and a point, but you're getting half. My half cow came with one like that. And it was fine. It cooked fine. We had it, I think, in June or something. It was good. Sirloin steaks. I went again with 1.25 inch thickness. These are going to be pretty beefy, so to speak, sirloin steaks. Sirloin tip. These are going to be, your chunks of sirloin steak. And per package, I'm getting a few. But yes, I wanted skirt steaks. Yes, I wanted flank steaks. Ground weight, 1 pound chubs. I don't really like ground anyway. And for whatever reason, I prefer them as patties, and they offered that many. So how many did I want total? I chose 20. I could have, in hindsight, asked for 40, and they would have given that to me. And I kind of wish I had, because my wife loves hamburger patties. I prefer hamburger patties. I don't like ground meat that much. Stew meat, do I want that? Yes. 1 pound packages. Do I want organs? And this is where a lot of you will scratch your head. I chose heart and oxtail. I really don't like liver, and I've never had tongue. And I don't know how to cook it. I can buy tongue from them. So if you know of a way to cook it, like a place to find a video online on how to smoke a tongue or whatever, send me a link. Don't put it in the comments. I don't think the links work in my comment section, but send it to me in an email. I've got an email address in the description box below. And the miscellaneous things here are going to be, I ordered short ribs and soup bones and cheek meat and hanging tender. I want to point to you here, though. You can get dog bones, which I'm not exactly sure what those are, and sweet bread. If you know what sweet breads are, that's pancreas. And I have a video on that as an organ meat. As the one organ meat, even if you're kind of hostile to organ meats, why you should consider it, because it's got some good sources of other things in it, and you're not going to give yourself, if you're worried about too much vitamin A, which I'm not going to debate the veracity or not of that claim about that risk, but if you worry about getting too much vitamin A from heart and liver, you don't have to worry about that with sweetbreads because they just don't have that much in it. Hanging tender, I don't know why the hanging tender is listed here as miscellaneous, honestly. It's one of the finest steaks on a cow, and they only have like one. If you get a half cow, you're getting half of it, and they have to be prepared a certain way just because they have a big, the steak, it has like, it's a vertical kind of thing, and it's got this rind in the middle that you have to cut out when you cook it, but it's so good. When you cook it properly, it is amazing. They also offered calf fries. And you know what calf fries are? Those are testicles. I'm not interested in that. I'll leave those for Dr. Saladino to eat if he wants to. I have zero desire to eat calf testicles. I just don't. But that's what a cut sheet looks like. These will vary depending on of course, from the cattle producer. How much you get will depend on the weight of the cow. I forgot to ask for fat. I can probably message them now. In fact, I might ask them just to include that. And tell them, hey, I forgot to include fat. Is there a way you can make sure I get 5 pounds of fat that I can keep in my freezer? The reason I want fat is because I make my own tallow. And I've got a ton of tallow right now. I've got a jar of Wagyu tallow, and I've got some duck fat, and I've got some home rendered beef tallow. In fact, I've got, I think, 2 things of Wagyu now that I think about it. I still like to have my own tallow on hand that I make. I should ask them. So I should definitely ask them about that. But That's what my cut sheet looked like. And I will let you know when the full cow comes. And this is where I'm going to give you the next hint about this project I've hinted at before. I'm probably going to start a Patreon soon. And it's not for the usual reasons that people start Patreon here. I have an idea. There's a huge problem in the carnivore world. And that problem is that a lot of people can't find where to buy local beef or local lamb or whatever. And so what I want to do is use a Patreon to fund a website that I and somebody that I'll have to hire, hence why I need a Patreon, will put together to list all of the places that I can find that you can buy beef, not only through ButcherBox and those kind of places. I have no problems with those places. Let me know in the comments if you use ButcherBox or a competitor to them and what you think of them. I don't have a problem with those companies, to be sure. I would have a website where I would list not only those places, but also, starting in the United States, state by state, as many of the farms where you can buy beef from that have websites or Facebook pages or Instagram pages or whatever, some sort of web presence, as I can possibly have. So you can find these people and figure out how to get their beef so you can contact them. It'd be sort of an online database. I'll give more detail on that in the future, but I'm going to start that Patreon soon. And if people want to help but can't afford Patreon right now, trust me, I understand. What you can do, and you can start doing this now. Email address on the screen. Send me the names of farms, and if any website they have, a link to it in an email, please, because that information will help. And we're going to do this first with the 50 U.S. states. And if this is successful, I will probably branch out to the UK and Canada and Australia, which tend to be the places where carnivore is the biggest. And we'll see what happens from there. This would be a resource for the whole carnivore world to use. And Patreon would be used to have it be built and maintained and up, because websites cost hundreds of dollars a year. They just do. That's a sad reality. I'd probably also use the website, though, to post sources to news stories and studies that I read, because people want them, and I sometimes don't see those comments until days later. So, and YouTube has specific rules about posting links and to things with websites to have ads on them. They actually have rules against that, and I try to follow their rules. Anyway, well, let me know what you thought of this cut sheet, this process for ordering full cows and half cows and all that stuff. I'll be paying $4.50 a pound for the cow when it comes, basically, is what it'll come down to. And let me know in the comments what you thought of this, what you think of my idea for that website, because I know that there have been attempts at kind of websites like that before, but they're usually very ideological. I'll probably have a chart, it'll probably be like in a chart form. Is kind of how I envision it, right? So you have you'll say, hey, this farm, regenerative, yes or no, conventional, yes or no, grass-fed, yes or no, that kind of stuff, maybe. It'll be tedious. I've got a few farms already listed. And actually, I think these are just web dealers. I think I've got Nebraska Bison and Billy Doe Meats and a couple other things. But let me know what you think of the idea and a few things that you would want to see on something like that. And yes, it would include, my idea would be to also get the information for duck eggs and that kind of thing, because I've been looking for duck eggs and I cannot find them. It's very annoying. Whole Foods sells them in some states, not in mine for whatever reason. But let me know in the comments what you thought of all this. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. It really does help. Sharing this on social media helps a lot as well. I'm Anthony Stein of the Practical Carnivore. Thanks for your time today.